One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question. Let's rejoin the conversation with Gene Boyd, Executive Senior Associate Athletics Director at Arizona State University. Okay, so it's primarily in the leadership. It's not necessarily down in the assistant recruiting coordinator or the quality control video analyst.
That's right. I mean, if I have an org chart of our entire football staff.
Oh, okay.
Coach Edwards has that same org chart. Ray Anderson has that same org chart. Tim Cassidy, who's our Senior Associate AD for football and football operations, has that org chart. And as we look at personnel, as we look at the dollars and cents that we have allocated to structure, or I should say restructure our football program, because as Coach Edwards has come on board, we're certainly doing that. All those entities are in lockstep with that org chart and org structure, and we're having conversations about it almost daily as it's being built out. I would say historically here at Arizona State, we've done a decent job of recruiting, but maybe have needed to ramp up our efforts in player identification and evaluation of players. So we've gone into this together with our head coach and our AD, and myself in my role. Scotty Graham, who was with the NFLPA for some time, is in a kind of an assistant general manager role, and we've asked ourselves, what's the model out in the space that is producing high levels of success in recruiting, and we do our research. We have analytics folks, we have people we consult with, and we've been able to start to evolve a model in recruiting for us that's different than what we've been doing for a number of years, and more effective, including where we're recruiting. I mean, we know that historically at Arizona State University, when we've done extremely well, we've been rich in talent from the state of California. We've done extremely well with in-state prospects in the state of Arizona, of course. Las Vegas has emerged, or Nevada in general as a state has emerged in recent years with migration patterns and so forth as a more dynamic player in college football recruiting. And so, tactically and also from a personnel, from a size standpoint and job responsibility standpoint, we're completely reorganizing, restructuring, and revamping what we do in that space, and we think that we're seeing immediate results, for example, in Southern California, where we've got almost our entire staff out in the space there.
As a head coach, it sounds like that you have full support in terms of where the program should go. You don't have to rack your brain in terms of the research, in terms of what's great out there, because you already have an apparatus around you that's helping to put the data in front of you. So if you have to make a decision, you can just look at what the data says because the research has already been done. The structure sounds like it could be successful as long as a coach is bought into it. And it sounds like Coach Edwards is on board 110%.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, conversely, what Coach Edwards has done is, when he constructs and distributes his program parameters to both the staff and the players, Ray and myself and Scotty and even the president of the university gets a copy of that. The messaging that he'll do throughout spring ball, that messaging is provided to that same leadership group because we want to be in sync with our messages as well. So if the subject matter for the week is about being disciplined or about being a good teammate, if myself or if Scotty Graham or even Ray sees players in the hallway, student athletes in the hallway in the sport of football, we're saying the same things that the head coach is saying about what it is that we're trying to build. And, we will even, once recruiting is over with and all, we'll have a weekly gathering where the AD and the head coach are in the same room together with this leadership group, just talking shop, man, talking about football, which I think there's great variance nationally around the country with how ADs and head coaches and senior level administrators and so forth interact, where our goal here is that there's great engagement, great partnership, transparency, and that we're all, rowing the boat, so to speak, in the same way. We're all driving the train. That's what Coach Edwards, talked about at his press conference, getting on the train, that we're all driving the train and riding the train, obviously to the same destination.
This sounds pretty intuitive in terms of Ray Anderson and you guys as a staff to put this together. It's, a lot of people when you're on campus, you try not to overemphasize the importance of football, but I think this is bringing it out front so everybody knows how important this sport is to campus in terms of athletics, in terms of visibility. And so everybody is on the same page. We're helping to support the coach with the resources and the research and helping him to so he can make easy decisions and just worry about coaching football. I think this has a lot of potential here.
Yeah, I agree. It's well stated. I think the other thing that's an added value is that in this regard, when you have other higher ranking professionals engaged with football staff and so forth, or people who are, working most closely in the football space, whenever you do have a turnover, eventually you're not starting from ground zero. Like, for example, I think 2 coaching turnovers ago, we had maybe 3 individuals in the whole operation that were retained, and that's probably pretty consistent in a lot of places. Whereas in this transition, we had 18 individuals who were retained, and so what that means in terms of continuity for the student athletes, their transition, how their day-to-day lives are impacted, off the field, outside of practice, outside of the weight room, so to speak. That has had meaning there, and we think that it will lend well as we move forward structurally, so that there's not so much of a topsy-turvy type mindset, and we've seen that probably less transfer type situations and so forth early on than maybe some of those other situations produce as well. So there's a continuity element as well that we think the model brings.
It's a very unique setup. I think the nation will be watching Arizona State coaches and athletic administrators included to see how this works out. Of course, we here at One Question and D1 Ticker, we're watching too, because obviously we report on things that are successful and things that aren't very successful, and the challenges and the celebrations that go on in college sports. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to sit down and visit with us here on One Question.
So we appreciate the opportunity, man. We look forward to the outcomes.
That was Gene Boyd. He's the Executive Senior Associate Athletics Director at Arizona State University. And this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.